Today on CJ Off-Road, we're going to show you how to ditch your factory headlights and replace them with a brand new Oracle Oculus headlight. Now, we do have a 2020 Gladiator here in the studio with the factory LED options. Now, you might be wondering, why are we pulling these out to put in some Oracle Oculus headlights? But I want to show you guys the difference in the LED headlights from Mopar and the Oracle lights. This installation video is primarily going to be for those of you that opted for a halogen light option and are looking for an LED that is complete in one package. So the only reason we're doing this to an LED, I know a lot of you guys are going to think, why would you rip out these LEDs? They're absolutely awesome. Well, we're going to give you guys a comparison of what they look like and show you how to install them. It's going to be the exact same install if you've got some halogen lights up front. The wiring, everything will be exactly the same, as well as the removal process. So why don't we get started? But first, I'm going to show you these brand new Oculus headlights. So these Oracle Oculus headlights are the full 9-inch headlight, meaning that they're not a replacement 7-inch that requires a bracket or anything like that to install. These feature all factory mounting locations and the exact same size as a factory halogen or LED. Now, I really like these lights because they are a bi-LED design and it almost is a projector inside there, which gives you a really crisp cutoff line at night, and you can adjust these very simply for the right lighting output depending on your lift, wheels, and tires and how high your Jeep sits. Another cool thing is that this does have a built-in daytime running light, so it's going to almost mimic the factory LED lights when you have those on and just the surrounding areas are lit up with that small backlight. Another thing I extremely am happy with is that these feature factory plugs, so there's no adapters or anything like that. They're completely sealed and waterproof, and they plug right into your factory connection. This secondary connection here is for that small wiring harness that you need to run for those daytime running lights. And Oracle actually includes a fuse tap in order for you to tap right in and run it up to these waterproof thread-on connections. So another great option. But as you can see, these are very slim too. They're a lot more slim than the factory LED headlights. And if you guys pull out your halogens, they're almost twice as deep. So a very slim design, and they feel really nice. I've got to say, I haven't seen any of these that are direct replacement. And having my hands on these, they are really nicely built. They have a nice seal around the edge, and I mean, personally, I just think they look super clean. I can't wait to see that daytime running light on there. And that way, if you run it to that fuse, the F52 fuse that we're going to show you guys how to do, it'll stay on when you have just the daytime running lights on. So no switches, nothing like that needed. If you don't have them on your Jeep, you're good to go. You can just simply plug it right into there. But overall, guys, I think it's going to be a pretty cool look on our JT Gladiator or your JL Wrangler. So let's show you how to pull these out and get these installed. First thing we need to do is remove the 6 push pins that hold in the Jeep grill. This is going to be the exact same on the Gladiator as well as the JL. So I like to use just a trim removal tool. You can use a flat blade screwdriver. Just pull the center section out, up about halfway, and then get under the main section, and they'll pop right out. Now make sure you save these for later. You're going to be reinstalling them once you put everything back in. To remove the grill, make sure that all of the push pins are loose on the top and removed. And then there are also some other clips. I believe there's 3 in total, 1 over here, 2 in the center, and then another one, so maybe 4 or 5. But just go around and pull on those to make sure you get a smooth release. And then pull the grill out of the way. Around the perimeter of the LED headlight or your halogen, you're going to have 3 10mm bolts which hold it into place. I like to use a 10mm socket as long as a small extension, and go ahead and get those pulled out as well. After all 3 of them are removed, you can pull the headlight out just far enough to remove this factory clip. All you have to do is push down and it'll pull right out. You can remove these headlights. So now that little harness that I mentioned in the introduction is actually to power the daytime running lights. So what you've got in this harness are 2 leads here. One is going to go into the factory ground right next to your fuse box, and then this one is going to get butt connected onto the fuse adapter. So then that runs down and into a splitter. This is the splitter right here, and as you can see, there's going to be one end that comes probably about 8 inches right out of the splitter, and then the other end is much longer. This shorter end is going to be used on the passenger side because it is closer to the fuse box, and then the longer end is gonna run over here to the driver's side. It's really important not to flip-flop these or else you won't have enough lead to make it all the way to your battery in that area with the fuse terminals. Now what I'm gonna do is actually wire this up through, and I'm gonna set this right behind the passenger side headlight, run this one over right underneath this radiator cover, and set it back here before I put the light in. That way I can get it all run and ready to go. After I get that on, we'll throw the light in, leave the factory LED on the other side, and give you guys a side-by-side comparison of what the LED headlight versus the new Oracle Oculus looks like. Now what you're gonna wanna do for this is actually pull off the radiator cover. By pull off, I just mean pull it up a little bit and you have access. Now what I'm gonna do is just feed the longer end of the lines, like I just explained, all the way across. And you're gonna have to weave it a little bit, tuck it under some things. But overall, this is really simple. It's not really that hard of a wiring harness to get installed. As you can see, guys, this connection is now right over here next to the factory connection. And one of the nice things is that this is a super simple harness to run, so you're gonna have no issues running this. One small suggestion that I have is to use a couple zip ties along here and actually zip tie this along the wiring that goes into your horn. That's gonna make sure this doesn't go back, touch your radiator, and melt any of the wires or cause any shortages, and make it a nice clean factory look. So just zip tie a couple of those, close it up, and you're good to go. So for the passenger side, the splitter is gonna be right here with the connection. We've got plenty of room over here, so I'm just gonna kinda tuck that down until we're ready to install both of the headlights at this time. But then what we're gonna do with this section is actually come right along here, follow this wire, go underneath the factory airbox bolt that goes on the fender, tuck that underneath there. I like to pull it through after everything I go under, that way I'm not trying to feed it all through at once. That'll tuck nicely into there, go below the rubber piece. And then once we're to this point, the only thing left to do is use a 10mm and remove. There's a ground on the body right over here. And then pull the fuse box cover and tap into fuse F as in Frank 52. So that's F52. Make sure you go in there. That'll make sure it works with the daytime running lights built into the Jeep. Another option you can do is if you have the upfitter switches like we do, the aux 1, 2, 3, 4, you can plug this into one of those. That way you can control the daytime running lights, so when you're at a show or something like that, you can leave them on without the Jeep being on. So that's another option. They do give you the option to do both, so it's just a bare lead here, but we're gonna go ahead and grab the butt connector, crimp this on, and then plug it into that fuse. That way it works with the factory lights. So here's the fuse tab, and what we're gonna do is put the butt connector over the exposed end, pull that together, and use a pair of these crimping pliers. Make sure you have a tight connection and clamp it down. So that's good to go now. And like I said, that's if you want to use it with the factory fuse with the daytime running light, which in our case, we really do because that's going to be the cleanest looking and not have to wire anything else so we don't have to waste an upfitter switch. Now go ahead and depress on both the tabs for the fuse box. Pull the cover off. Let's locate F52. So F52 is going to be the cigar lighter, not a cigarette lighter, a cigar lighter. And if you're looking at this in the proper orientation with the 6 posts facing towards the driver's side, it is going to be right here. So it's right next to these K14 and K15, 2 bigger blocks. It's going to be the second one in right underneath F53. So just pull the cover off and you'll be able to see exactly where that needs to go. Then we'll go check out where F52 is and see if there's any fuse in there already. So I've actually pulled 2 of those big blocks out. They go right here, so in those 2 locations. And then F52 is going to be a yellow 20 amp fuse. So we're going to go ahead, use the included fuse puller, grab onto there, pull it right out. So now what we're going to do with that is actually pop it in to this adapter onto the lower opening slot. We've got the 5 amp up top. We'll put the 20 amp down below. That way we still have enough. Once those are both in, this section is going to go where you pull that 20 amp out of. So go ahead and push that into place. Make sure it is seated firmly. So wire the positive down towards this end where those posts are, and as you can see, I'm free and clear. I can still move that. Make sure it closes. And then over here, what we're going to do is take this negative terminal and wire it up to the 10mm factory terminal over here by just tucking the wire down a little bit. Getting that out of the way, nice and clean. And grab our 10mm socket. After you get that bolt removed, you can then take the ring terminal, place it over the post, ahead and get that tightened up. Gotta tell you guys, I'm really happy with the way that this is wired. It is very clean. There's no modification necessary at all, which I really like with an aftermarket headlight. And you still got the daytime running light feature built in with the factory. So that's a super nice feature. No need to add any other tuners. It's just gonna work with the daytime running light. So guys, great feature to have. Really simple wiring. Gotta be honest, it was probably the easiest wiring I've done for a set of custom headlights this far. So here's the benefit of running that before. You can see that we already have the connection here, and then the factory connection is down there. What we're gonna do is grab our Oracle Oculus light. This is gonna be the left-hand side because it is the driver's side. Go ahead and take the connection, line up the 2 alignment pins at the top, push that into it clicks. That's a nice tight factory connection there. They're actually factory plugs, so no reason to worry about those. And then with a daytime running light, these actually have a notch as well. There's a small notch right there. And if you look inside the 2-post, there's a small little kind of pin. Those will line up and push in there nice and tightly. And then just to secure that even more, you do have this thread-on connection right here. And go ahead and just thread this on. After you get that threaded on, we're gonna align the headlights just like we did with the factory ones. They actually notch right into place. And then using our 3 10mm bolts, just get them loosely started. There's one. Put the second one down here. And we'll get the third one right up top. Get them all tightened down. You don't have to go crazy on these guys. Remember, you are tightening up plastic. When I pulled them off, they weren't really extremely tight. Plus, they do have a little bit of dried blue Loctite on there, so that'll hold it a little bit more. And last but not least, this bottom one here. Get that one tightened up as well. And then just for illustrative purposes, we're gonna throw the grill back on and show you the difference between the factory LED and the Oracle Oculus. We will go back through and install the second one. It's gonna be the exact same process, and since we already showed you how to do the wiring, there's nothing else you need to do besides take the old LED out, put the new one in, and tighten down the bolts, make some connections. But let's throw the grill on and show you guys what it looks like. All right guys, so I'm sitting inside the cab here, and in order to make the daytime running light, you gotta have the vehicle to the run position and in auto. Just to have it shown here for illustrative purposes, we have them both with the daytime running light, and as you can see, they're pretty similar. However, the Oracle does have some differences, being that it is much more brighter and a lot more noticeable too. It's a big ring around the edge compared to the factory Mopar light. What I do like about the Mopar light though is it is a factory light, so all those Mopar goodies and everything you can get from factory are built into it. However, the Oracle does come in at a better price point. So if you're looking for a direct replacement, the Oracle's definitely going to be a good option for you. Now let's go ahead and turn on the headlights and see how those look. Pretty good. I can actually see the garage door right now where the headlight cutoff is, and I gotta say it is much more crisp on the Oracle lights. It is absolutely a big difference between the Oracle and the Mopar factory headlight. They're just about as bright, but the Oracle gives me a better cutoff, which I actually really prefer over just kind of the nice cutoff the Mopar has, but more of a blob. So let's try the high beams then. Yeah, pretty much the same. Maybe the Mopar is a little bit brighter, but yeah, pretty close. You do hear a click when the Oracle comes on and off because it is a bi-LED, meaning it has 2 reflectors in there. Yeah, pretty clean line on the wall. Then let's go to the regular low beam. And like I said, guys, the one on the left is going to be the Oracle Oculus. It's a much cleaner cutoff line. I'm really impressed by that. You can see that on our garage door. It's just a nice crisp cutoff, which is adjustable, and I've got to say, I do really prefer that over the Mopar. You can see on the Mopar on the right, there's some light kind of scattered up top, and it's spread out a little bit, but the Oracle is really clean and crisp, so I'm pretty impressed so far. Let's try the high beam, see how that looks. Yeah, same kind of thing. The Oracle is very focused. You can almost see how crisp that beam is in the center. We're only about, we're a little bit farther away on the Oracle side than we are the factory side, but it looks like the Oracle has a larger sort of center section of where that light is compared to the Mopar. But pretty cool, guys. So with both headlights installed, it really gives it a more aggressive look up front there. We finished up the passenger side and it was the exact same installation as the driver's side now that we had all the wiring run. I'm really liking the look of these with the daytime running light, and this will be utilized when you're just sitting there, you know, just with your turn signal lights on, your daytime running lights, just running down the highway, you can have these on and give some people an extra accent light, which I think looks really awesome. Now I'm gonna hop inside and we'll turn on the low beams and see what those both look like. Wow. Super bright cutoff line on the wall. They look really great. I almost have the same setup in my JK, so I'm used to that sort of oculus in the center there, or the eye you might call it on these headlights, but I think it gives it a really more aggressive look over the halogen lights, and definitely a huge lighting improvement. Overall, it was plug and play too, so I really like the fact that basically you put these in, run one wire, you've got daytime running lights and everything built in, plus they are adjustable on the back. So a really good price for everything that you get too. And Oracle gives a great warranty. Plus here at CJ's, you know, you're getting quality parts, so these are gonna be a great lighting option for your Gladiator or your JL. All right, well that wraps up the installation of these Oracle Oculus headlights for your brand new JL Wrangler or your JT Gladiator. Now I've got to tell you guys, I was a little bit hesitant pulling out the Mopar LED lights on our brand new Gladiator to put these in there. The Mopar lights are a great option, and if you're into that, if you want that factory option, we also sell those here available at CJ Pony Parts, and you could pick up a set for your JL or your JT. Now, after installing the Oracle Oculus, I really like the lighting output of them, plus the daytime running light really matches that of a factory light. Now, if you want to pick up these lights or many other great LED options for your JL or your JT, be sure to swing by cjponyparts.com. Hope you enjoyed that video. To stay up to date on our CJ Off-Road videos, make sure to subscribe up top here, and for any other installs, make sure to click the link right above.